Today I'm going to show you how to create a graphic and eye-catching fashion image using the Westcott Optical Spot. Hey everybody, Lindsay Adler here, and I absolutely love two things: bold graphic imagery and the color red. And guess what? This shot is going to combine the two. I'm really excited because recently I worked in collaboration with Westcott to design my very own modifier. And this modifier is called the Optical Spot. Now what this does is it allows you to create tiny slices of light on your subject. So if I just want to light a part of the subject's face, or just their lips, or just their eyes, or half their face, well, this modifier allows me to do so. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in this image. Now the concept behind this shot is I want to create something that is bold and graphic and plays very carefully with highlight and shadow. So let's start at the very beginning with my main light, which is going to be the optical spot. Now if you're unfamiliar with spots, they go by a bunch of different names. Sometimes they're called optical spots or optical snoots or spot projectors, but fundamentally what they do is they have a lens on the front of the modifier. And from there, you can cast different patterns or shapes on your subject. Now, we specifically designed this modifier to have these leaves, these shutters that can open and close. So I can create any different type of shape of slice of light on my subject. And so if I just want to get part of her face, but make sure that there's no light reaching the neck, well, I can do so with these shutters. And so that's what I'm going to do with my main light. My main light is a ProPhoto D2 off to the left-hand side of the frame. And I am going to adjust the position of these shutters just to light part of her profile while the entire rest of her body falls into shadow. Now, if that optical spot was my only light, well, all you would see is this little slice of light in the subject's face and they just fall to shadow. So the next step is I need to add my second strobe. I'm going to add another ProPhoto D2 on the background with no modifier, but I'm going to introduce some color. And this is where I add my red gel. For the background, I'm using a Savage Universal Fashion Gray. So it's kind of a neutral gray background, but when no light hits it, and then I add my background light strobe with a red gel, it'll become a beautiful, super saturated hue of red. Now, I will have the pose of my subject to create that graphic composition, the slice of light on their face to add a little bit of interest, and that super bright colored background to give me that pop of vibrance that I use so often in my portfolio. Those are the two strobes in the scene. However, there is one more piece to this equation. I could make this interesting just by photographing her face, her profile, posing her hands, but I want to take it another step further. And so I'm going to introduce a piece of DIY styling. In this shot, what I'm going to use is what looks like a headpiece, but all it really is a piece of cardboard cut in a teardrop shape. Then it's wrapped in a piece of velvet, which is then stapled in the back so it stays. Now, originally I was thinking that I could try to position this on her head, but to make it easier and give us a little bit more flexibility, we've actually attached it to a C-stand arm. So as we adjust the pose or the position of her head, we can keep that teardrop just in the right composition, just in the right position, so that it has a really clean, crisp, and interesting shape to the camera. So to bring the shot together, it's not about any one of these elements, it's about all of it working together for the most impact. So I need to have a nice expression on her face. I need the light to hit her face in the right way. I need an interesting pose, and I need to make sure that I have that teardrop just in the right place so my eye is moving throughout the composition. Now for this shot, I'm going to be using the Canon R5 and the Canon RF 24 to 105 millimeter lens, and that's going to give me flexibility. So if I want to shoot maybe a chest up shot, so it's a little bit more beauty, or if I want to get wider and maybe shoot mid-length or 3/4 length shot, I can do so as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off both of my lights to begin with, and then I'm going to build them in one by one so you can see what they're doing. Now the first strobe that I have is the ProPhoto D2 with the optical spot on the left-hand side of the frame. Now right now I have those shutters wide open. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that light on, and then I'm going to adjust them to the position that they're just lighting the side of the subject's face in profile in a way that I find interesting. From there, what I can do is I can sharpen the front of that lens. So I can actually make those lines super sharp and defined. Or if I don't like that and I want them to be a little softer, I can defocus the lens. So I'm going to begin there first. You could, of course, make interesting images just with this one light, but that's not my concept. So now it's time for me to add my second strobe. All right, so let me turn on that background light. Now this background light is on a floor stand so that it can be hidden behind my subject, and I have no modifier on it so that the light spreads out and covers a large area of that background. You'll notice in this shot that towards the top of the frame, it starts to get a little bit darker. There's a little bit of a gradient, but I'm actually going to use that to my advantage. I think it adds a little bit of depth to the photograph. So we've got our two lights, and then I need to make my interesting composition. So what I want to do to make the shot more compelling and more graphic is to add in my DIY headpiece. All right, let's see how this is looking. So I like the light, the composition, I love everything that's going on, but of course, I need to bring all of the details together. So now it's just about little tweaks to the position of the head, adjustments to the light, and of course, position of her hands and body. So let's go get that shot. Okay, so for this one, pop that back arm out real high for me. Good, and then roll your left shoulder forward a little. Perfect, yes, that's great. This image is a ton of fun, and it's a beautiful mix between fine art and fashion, and it is so very much my style. But what I love about it even more is that it is done with just two strobes, and on one of those strobes is my custom designed optical spot. Now, if you like this setup and you want to try something like this at home, be sure to check out the links in the description below because I've listed all of the gear that I'm using. Furthermore, there is a link there as well if you want the lighting recipe guide for exactly how this shot was created. The distance of the light, the power of the light, the modifiers, everything you need. And in fact, I create lighting recipe guides all the time. I already have one dedicated specifically to my optical spot, and I have many, many more, from everything from beauty photography to headshots to commercial lighting. And so you'll definitely want to check that out at learnwithlindsay.com. Now, if you like this video and you like the type of images that I'm creating and you want to be able to learn more about this, be sure to like and subscribe because I have so many more videos just like this one coming your way. See you next time.